Hello, good morning, students. Today I will take up an important class in the livestock breeding and livestock and poultry breeding systems. That is conservation of livestock and poultry breeds. So this conservation is nothing but, as the name says, their conservation is earlier this one. It is a little different from preservation. The term preservation is referred to items, storage of items without changing their quality for a longer time is referred as preservation. But coming to this conservation word, conservation, it means protecting and developing. Okay, you can say protection and development. Preservation rather than preservation, it includes development of the protected breeds also. So here actually we might have heard the word biodiversity word. You might have heard a lot of times till now. Okay, biodiversity is an word which is defined as a method wherein you conserve the available resources by utilizing them for the present need, at the same time keeping them intact for next generations use also. Okay, so that is referred as biodiversity conservation. Okay, biodiversity refers to the variety of especially flora and fauna available in the earth is referred as biodiversity. But coming to the limit with narrowing down from all the flora and fauna, if you come down only to focus only on the livestock including poultry, it is referred as domestic animal biodiversity, DOAD. So you can just DOAD is a specific name in the biodiversity, so which focuses only on the domesticated animals and poultry. Okay, DOAD, domestic animal diversity. So it is also referred by another word called as ANGR, animal genetic resources. Okay, it is also referred by another word, animal genetic resources. Okay, so these are the two words that you should keep when we are referring to animal genetic resources. Okay, one is ANGR, another is DOAD. Okay, that is domestic animal diversity. So now we will just study why this conservation is important. Conservation, so as on now, is nothing but keeping the diversity, that is domestic animal diversity or animal genetic resources intact, so that they will be useful for present generation as well as future generation. Okay, so they are of use for the future generation also. So that is the main objective of the conservation of animal diversity or livestock animal diversity. Okay, we will just see what is this. Okay, we are given one box here, so therein it says the importance of domesticated animal diversity is composed of. So basically you can just look at the box one that is being depicted there. Domestic DOAD, just now I referred DOAD as DOAD, is composed of diversity at the species and breed level. Okay, so that includes diverse species as well as breed within the species. Okay, at the species level, around 40 species are utilized for agriculture by the human beings. Okay, so it includes large array of species starting from wormy, earthworms, to the bullocks, bisons, okay, horse, equine transportation. Lot of species will come there. Pink, donkey, all these will come in there. Main are cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, poultry. Okay, poultry again there are plenty of species: chicken, geese, turkey, like that. So of these 90% products contributed only by among these, again, among the 40 species that have been of use for the agriculture animals, 90% of the products are contributed by only 14 species. Okay, so 14 species are the important ones which are contributing to the animal agriculture. Okay, so these domesticated species have been, I think, as all of you are aware of the fact that domestic animals are nothing but the smaller section of animals brought from the wild and maintained for the human use. Okay, maintained for the human use in the later generation, so that they don't have to depend go every time to the forest or wild conditions and pick them up. Okay, so a small section of the available resource in the world has been tamed for the human beings, for the use by the human beings for agriculture. And same species, and within the species several breeds have come. So depending on the need of individual geography, different breeds have been evolved within a species. Just for the example, in the cattle broader, this one we have got Bos taurus and Bos indicus. Bos taurus in the western, that is humpless cattle in the western region, and in the eastern region we have got the humped cattle in the form of Bos indicus. So in the same way, buffaloes, for example, Bos bovalis, it is the only there in Indian subcontinent. In the majority is there in Indian subcontinent. So within a species, there is an evolution of particular class itself for the particular geography. And within the species, that is Bos taurus, we have got plenty of breeds again there. For example, best two or three examples in the Bos taurus are Holstein Friesian, Jersey, Brown Swiss, Red Dane, like that. So each of these breeds in turn have got unique features. Okay, so when we say species, I think you might have in the classification you might have gone through. Species includes larger group of animals which share a common characters. Okay, so they share large number, broadly they share broad number of characters. When we say Bos taurus, chromosome number is so much, they are humpless. This is one of the feature important species in the all Bos taurus is humpless cattle. Okay, so within that, within the humpless cattle, again smaller group will have different features. For if you, when we come to Holstein Friesian, a large framed cattle which has got high milk production potential and which has got black and white color pattern as the unique features. So same thing with the Jersey, it is a smaller body frame animal with higher with lower milk production, relatively lower milk production potential, but a better heat tolerance, like this. And color also, it is an uniform unique color, that is tan color, light tan color or dark tan color. So like this, each of the small species within itself has got larger number of breeds depending on the adaptability to a particular region. In the Bos indicus, again we have got plenty of breeds. Okay, in the cattle we have got plenty of, around 40 breeds are there. In buffalo again we have got breeds. In sheep also, in the sheep species itself we have got plenty of breeds. So like that, so there are, as on date, so human population has got around 400 breeds. All the domesticated species have got around 4000 breeds, sorry, around 4000 breeds are there in domesticated species. Okay, so that is a very huge number. And you may ask the question, why this diversity is required? Why this diversity is required in the species itself? That is to meet the needs of a particular geography. Okay, that is for a particular species to survive well in a particular geography, it needs a different kind of characters. Okay, so in that way, there is a small number of unique breeds have evolved across different geographies. In the total world, lot of breeds have been evolved naturally, not with the intervention of humans. Okay, so only with the nature's intervention, lot of breeds have been created. So main reason is adaptability, that is all this whole species as an uniform species may not be able to survive in all the geography. So a different breed or a different class of genotypes has been evolved over a large number of years to adapt well to a particular geography. Okay, so in that way, so we have got plenty of species. Okay, plenty of species, and then again breeds available. So now when we say what is this genetic diversity, so we just told you how many animals are available, how many species. If you just want to get a glimpse of what is available, so only with respect to animal genetic resources, that is ANGR, animal genetic resources. So there FAO has given statistics there, status of livestock genetic resources in India and world. Okay, if you just look at the breeds available within the species, okay, within the species are in the left first column, that is cattle, buffalo, goat, pig, sheep, horses, camel, donkey and poultry. So number of breeds you can just see there in the cattle, around 1019 breeds are available across the world. Okay, so if you come to India, that is the fourth column, You can see there are around 37. So this is an older data, and still we have got more this one number there. Now they are being characterized. So cattle there are 37 breeds of cattle in India. So percentage wise, if you look to come to the last column in the table, rank wise, so India ranks second in the diversity. Okay, so it is second. So we are blessed with diverse breed resources. Okay, with the cattle. In the same way, buffalo also, it is first rank with respect to diversity, buffalo, because it is the major subcontinent having buffalo germplasm. For that reason, it is number one in the ranking. And in the brackets parenthesis, the percentage of population is also given. Right now I think that is not important here, so we will just focus on the ranking with respect to diversity. So cattle is second, buffalo it is first. In the goats also we are blessed because it is second rank with respect to diversity, and in the pigs it is number one. Okay, so with respect to diversity again. In the sheep I think it is third, and in the poultry rank is 5. Okay, so this indicates the Indian subcontinent is blessed with rich genetic resources with respect to domesticated animal species. Okay, domesticated animal species or domesticated animal diversity, or even the animal genetic resources. Now this is not because of the human intervention. We are blessed with so many breeds already by the nature's intervention. So why so many breeds have been created? So naturally, the question is, I think in the last slide I explained you. So if you just look at to add on to the same point, continue with the same points. So we have got one is we are rich in the genetic resources, that's correct. And some of the best breeds of dairy, draught, dual purpose are available in India. So dairy, especially buffalo, as well as Sahiwal, Rathi and Red Sindhi. We have got a very rich Gir also. We have got very rich germplasm with respect to all the category. Dairy, draught, I think it is exceptional. India, especially when you come to the southern breeds, we are blessed with one of the best in the world with respect to draught. That is Amrutmal, Alikar, even Kilar. Okay, so Krishna Valley, although it is very few in numbers, we are blessed with draught resources also with respect to the cattle. In the same way, for other species also, in all the species, most of the breeds have got a unique utility for a particular geography. Unique utility in terms of product, as well as adaptability to the geography in which it is brought up, or the breeding tract in which it is brought up. Okay, so and the important thing with respect to the cattle is they excel in draught capacity, longevity. I think you know that crossbred bull cows, okay, bull cow when it is born, it is almost useless. Okay, but that is not the case in the indigenous descript cattle breeds. So they will be of use for draught purpose or milk purpose. Whether it is male or female, they will be equally important with respect to the livelihood of the farmer. So for that, and another thing is their longevity is exceptional and their fitness is unique. They are hardy animals. Indigenous descript cattle breeds, they are hardy animals. That is true with any other species also, sheep, goat, and even poultry, chicken also. They have got exceptional fitness and longevity, and overall lifetime productivity is also very good than the temperate breeds. So temperate breed or western, this one are called as they are temperate breeds. Our breeds are referred as tropical breeds. Okay, that is with respect to these qualities. One is draught capacity, longevity, fitness, and overall lifetime productivity. That is, usually crossbreds will be of use only for 7 or 8 lactations maximum, but on the other hand, indigenous breeds will be useful for about 10 lactations. You can rear them for 10 or 12 lactations. There are cases even the cows have given birth to 12th or 13th, 14th or 15th calf also, and they are healthy. Okay, so with respect to that, with respect to overall lifetime productivity, indigenous cattle and buffaloes, our genetic resources are better. And as I just now told you, the male cows will also be very much useful. Okay, as good as female cows, male cows will also be of use. So in that way, so the importance of the domestic animal resources can be highlighted in that way. So, and the issue of importance right now with respect to conservation is, many indigenous breeds are on decline. Their number is decreasing. Okay, Some are insecure, some are vulnerable, some are endangered. So that we'll see what is vulnerable, endangered, we'll see when we go to the next slides. Okay, so we'll just come to the other this one. We can just say, we'll highlight once again the important features. As I think in the last slide I mentioned a few traits, like one is fitness. Okay, unique features of the indigenous animal genetic resources. First one is longevity. Okay, and their ability, lifetime production. Okay, and fitness are the unique features of indigenous germplasm. Okay, livestock germplasm. Other than that, they do have some of the disease resistance qualities. Okay, some of the disease, they are tolerant to many diseases. So I think as I told, they are adaptable species. We have got specifically, it has been supported even by the research that Sahiwal cattle has got better tolerance for Theileria. Okay, so it has been reported by Glass and Jensen in 2007. So there is a research, where a lot of research support for disease resistance quality of the indigenous cattle. Okay, in the second, this one, tuberculosis. Zebu cattle they have got lesser clinical signs compared to Holstein. So that is also supported by one of the researcher in the form of Amini, that has been given in the right side column, right last column. In the same way, buffaloes are, so third row indicates buffaloes resistance to fluke infections. The fluke infection compared to Angol cattle, they are more resistant. Okay, in the cattle and buffaloes only, in the Indian animal genetic resources only, buffalo is more tolerant to the fluke infection. So in that way, so there is a divergence with respect to the disease resistance also. Okay, so Nellore cattle is resistant compared to the Crolasis for the ticks infection. So in the same way, Asil chicken is immune to the infectious bursal disease. Okay, IBD, that is referred as IBD. For IBD, Asil chicken is more resistant compared to commercial chickens. Okay, commercial chickens in the intensive breeding, intensive cattle, that is modern commercial layer or broiler especially. Asil is tolerant to IBD compared to commercial broiler. In the same way, naked neck chickens, that is indigenous chicken breed, that has Newcastle, it is resistant to Newcastle disease. Okay, compared to other breeds, it has got more this one resistance compared to which breed that has been given there, compared to the, that is indirectly, so to say. So this slide tells there is an genetic variation with respect to disease resistance also. Okay, there is a genetic resistance difference, there is a variation for the disease resistance character also, just like any other character. For disease resistance also there is a genetic variation. We can exploit that for our advantage. Okay, so now the next one, so next important, this one is, so we have got one more, this one with especially dairy cattle and buffaloes. One more news that, so there is an I think you might have heard the word A2 milk, this you might have heard. So there is an advantage, A2 and A1 and A2 are the two milk proteins in the dairy animal. A2 milk has got an advantage over the A1 milk. Okay, so to just make it very brief, the A2 milk has got less incidence of allergies, diabetes, obesity and cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so with respect to that also, Indian cattle and buffaloes have got a higher frequency of A2. Okay, A2 you can just see here. So that has been depicted. We have got I think it is Malnad Gedda is there, Kiriagar is there. So where it is documented, and most of the time I think it is very high in the Indian cattle, especially a few breeds, like the mean is, okay, we can just see the mean here. It is among the studied, it is very high in the Drod, Malnad Gedda and Kiriagar. Okay, and in the buffaloes also it is not shown here, you can just see. And most of the time this A2 milk prevalence is higher in the domestic cattle. Okay, domestic that is our indigenous cattle. Okay, for that reason we have got that advantage also. I think flavor wise, I think some of you might have, you are from the rural areas, might have seen that there is a particular flavor for the indigenous milk, descript milk, that is not visible or appreciated in the crossbred milk. Okay, and even the quality of the milk is also higher, solids will be there in the Indian cattle milk. So that advantage, although it is not proved, productivity is low, some of the average cattle productivity, but the qualities are A to A, they are blessed with A to milk proteins, Indian cattle. Okay, while just saying, so here there is a market, so you can just see the second box that is visible here. Europe, actually they have started milk marketing A2 milk is now the fastest growing with a share of 8% of the milk market, and the sales increasing by 57% per year. Okay, so that is a market advantage again. You can sell the milk as A2 milk, it will fetch higher price and it will have a good sales also. Okay, so with that, so that is the one of the feature of the indigenous cattle. Now we will just move on to the other advantages of why they are required. I think to name some points here. We have got, it is a indigenous breeds, Brahman cattle. Okay, the name Brahman cattle, which is nothing, it's a name given for the synthetic milk breed evolved in the Brazil by using Gir, Concres and Angol. Okay, so it has got, now it has been very much of demand, because Brahman cattle, as the name says there, so it is specifically in synthetic created with the advantage of Bos indicus breeds. Okay, Bos indicus breeds. So Bos indicus breeds. So Bos indicus breeds. So we have got a, so heat tolerance is very high, and their disease resistance is also very high. So they have utilized these two qualities to develop beef breeds like Brangus, Beefmaster and Simra. So they are utilizing our cattle other in the other countries, in the other tropical hot areas of the world, to develop high producing beef breeds. Okay, in the same way, Gir cows, actually Gir cows, more Gir cows are available outside than our country. For example, you can just look at the point here, third point in the Gir cow, Brazil, which took around Gir, small population of Gir was taken in 1890s. Now Brazil has got around 40 lakh pure bred Gir cows or Gir cattle are available in Brazil. Okay, so they have even given the special status for the Gir cow by stamping, by printing its photo on their national stamp that is being shown in the picture here. Okay, so they have given important, they have drawn the Indian animal genetic resources and they have exploited it for their benefit, and they have even given the importance for that. So in comparison to that, we might have, we will feel that we have not utilized the available genetic resources to the extent possible. Okay, and in the same way, Nellore cattle from Andhra Pradesh has been imported by the Argentina, and they have named, they have got their own breeding programs in the form of Nellore Argentino. So they are given Angol, that is Nellore cattle is nothing but Angol. Okay, so there Nellore cattle is nothing but Angol. So same has been utilized very well by the Argentina for their national breeding policy. Okay, in the same way, so in this context, we will just see what is this animal biodiversity is all about. Okay, so when we say animal biodiversity, so for example, we have just shown here what is happening to the animal biodiversity. You can just see the few points or few facts that have been presented in the slide. You can see in Kerala also there is over a period of time there is a decline of 6.88%. Okay, indigenous cattle population. Punjab, it is around 5% decline, it is all minus. Okay, so nowhere it is there is a plus data, plus is not at all there. So the Indian genetic cattle, Indian cattle, the number is declining, that's for sure. Why it is happening? So we have got plenty of reasons for that. Okay, okay, one of some of the reasons could be, so indigenous, as it is told in the second point, fast changing socio-economic levels of farmers. I think most of you, those from the rural areas, can see the major trend in the rural households, that there are people who are willing to take up animal husbandry are less in number, they are declining. Might be because grazing lands are reducing. Okay, and people are not there specially who are meant for taking the animal for grazing activity, because our cattle, you cannot keep them in the intensive mode, you cannot rear them in the intensive cattle rearing system. They are very economical when they are in the extensive system. So the people are also getting education though. So in the family, in a family of 4 or 5, if 2 or 3 people children go for education, so there will be to nobody to take up the agriculture or animal farming. Okay, so for that reason, it is better if we will so there is a decline in the animal genetic resources because of changing socio-economical levels of farmers. Okay, so people are willing to adopt the fast cash type of husbandry things. Okay, so immediate instant this one, so they don't want to wait for a lot of this one. And one more change, important factor that has been seen as the influencing factor in the reduction of Indian animal genetic resources is the intensive and mechanized agriculture. So as we told in the earlier slide, so Indian cattle, both male and females, are of high utility, but with the increasing trend of using mechanized traction power for agriculture, so there is a less utility of the draft animal power. So for that reason, so there is a declining demand for the male indigenous animals. So for that reason, there could be the negative trend of the animal genetic indigenous animals. Okay, so grazing area is shrinking, and there is more emphasis for the crossbreeding with exotic cattle for increasing milk production. Okay, so because there is no need to wait for a lot of time till the animal become adult and use them for agriculture. Crossbreeding animals are available. You draw the milk the animals, sell the milk for the nearest milk producing centers. You will get milk price. You will get the money once in a week or once in 15 days at your own village only. So for that reason, overemphasis has been given for crossbreeding. So for that is I think we can just see these are the factors which are influencing the decline in the animal diversity. Okay, so now in the category wise, so as I told in the first slide, we'll see, because whenever there is an increase, there is a decrease in the breedable females of a particular breed. We cannot just say all the animal genetic resources there is a diversity is reducing. We cannot say. Particularly breed wise, we'll have to look at the factors. Okay, when we say some of, for example, conservation can be studied or can be monitored or can be documented by classifying the available breed resources by taking the breedable female number in each breed category. Okay, you should, whenever we want to conserve the breeds, indigenous breeds, we should identify what are the number of breedable females available in each breed. Okay, for example, in a breed, that is last section, if you just look, if the number of breedable females is more than 10,000, we can say that population or that breed is not in danger. It is good with respect to conservation. That is normal category. Okay, there is no need to bother or panic. Okay, so then if the number is between 5,000 to 10,000, that is breedable females number, if it is between 5,000 to 10,000, insecure, there is a need to worry. There is a need to check out some program, create some awareness programs, so that there is a increased awareness, unique quality that will come to. I will just identify, I will tell you later on. Right now, with respect to conservation, whenever you want to study the indigenous germplasm with respect to conservation, you can classify into these 5 categories. One is normal, insecure, vulnerable, endangered and critical. When the number of breeding female is less than 100, we can say it is critical. When you have heard these words, okay, here and there, endangered, when we say breeding females number is between 100 to 1000. Okay, so this is a very important, this one, these numbers, if you are critical, if you understand these numbers, then you can classify the available breeds into normals, insecure, vulnerable, endangered and critical classes, and later on you can take up the suitable conservation strategy. Okay, we'll study what is the conservation strategy in the next slide. Okay, so why there is a need for conservation. Okay, why there is a need for conservation? One is, first reason is, okay, first one is the first reason for the conservation is genetic insurance. So the insurance is a general word. So that is in the event of problems, okay, in the event of problems or issues, so indigenous genetic resources will play a significant role in the hard times. So they are the ones which survive well in the hard times. That is, especially in the drought and other regions when there is a disease problems are there, then the resistant variety will survive. For that reason, it is a genetic insurance. Second one, it offers scope for scientific study also. It is economic potential is also very huge because drought animal capacity is very huge and manure producing ability is also very high. We will have to think of all these points with respect to economic potential also. Okay, a breed which is of less use now may become very important in the later years. So for that reason, we need to preserve the available resources for the economic potential reason also. Fourth one, environmental considerations. I think so. It is because the dependence on the compounded feed is less in the indigenous genetic resources. Okay, as all of you are aware of the fact, I think you are undergoing nutrition course also now. So means they are less dependent on the concentrates. Okay, indigenous genetic resources are less dependent on the concentrated feed. So naturally, when there is less dependent on concentrated feed resources, naturally it is environmentally safe because such grazing agricultural land will be catering to the needs of humans directly, okay, without the requirement for livestock feed. In the same way, cultural and ethical requirements are there. I think you know that it is in many of the cultures and ethical reasons they offer puja or they worship the cattle, especially cattle, and even other animals also they worship and offer them for sacrificial reasons. For the several religious reasons, they prefer the indigenous germplasm. Okay, so in this, and they are utilized for many other. This one also they offer worship for different. This one, I think in one of the picture that has been shown here, Jallikattu, Kambala is also given here. So other than the mainstream economic activity, they are also of importance for the cultural and ethical reasons in the form of Kambala, Jallikattu, other bull races. They engage the people and they give importance for the animals. Okay, so for that reason, because they produce lot of milk as well as they are of more utility for the human beings, for that reason they retain them. Okay, I think the other important source, sixth one, is energy source. So I think in the form of drought animal power as well as manure, that is fertilizers, they offer lot of potential. Okay, I think the next one is the principles of conservation, how to conserve them. So we said that is conservation, all these things we told. So in the population size, so you should identify the breedable females number first, as we told in the earlier slide, in the previous slide. So then we have to identify the characteristics of the stock. Okay, for example, if Amrut Mal is there, among the available stock, whether pure animals are available, okay, we should see that first, whether they have got special traits or not. Okay, and we should, as much as possible within the breed, we should retain a diversity of animals from diverse origin within Amrut Mahal. We should take animals from Mysore region, Chitradurga region, okay, Tumkur region, and keep them for conservation. Not that you take animals only from Mysore region and conserve them. Okay, it is to maintain the genetic diversity of the breed. Okay, then environmental conditions, maintain them in highly adaptable region environment only. You don't keep the animals in specialized environment so that they will be of use for the future environment also. Breeding methods. So what kind of breeding methods? I think as much as possible inbreeding should be reduced in the available stock. Okay, then methods of conservation, mainly there are method how do you conserve the animal. There are mainly in situ conservation is one, ex situ is the other one. Okay, so in situ conservation is, as the name says, in situation, to make it very simple, in situ. So there are Amrut Mahal bird or Malnad Gidda bird, cattle for that reason, or Asil chicken for that reason. Malnad Gidda is available in Western Ghat in good numbers. So we keep the animals, we encourage the farmers to keep those animals and keep awareness, improve the awareness of the farmers regarding the utility of the breed. Okay, so then farmers will keep, say, A to milk and its adaptability, that is known to farmers. It is not that you'll have to create awareness about everything for the farmers. but you should at least research highlights or scientific thinking should be created among the farmers, so that they will understand the utility of these breeds in the future and keep the herds. That is, when good numbers of animals are available in their own breeding tract, that itself becomes a conservation. Okay, then create organized herds in the breeding tract itself. Asil chicken for that matter, it is available in AP region. So there also its unique property should be explained to the farmers, and he should give some help in the form of supplying the asil birds from other genetic groups, so that there is no inbreeding, and healthy flocks will be available for future use. And there can be support even from the government farms also, by having the breeds of respective regions can be kept in good number in some small number of nucleus farms, and whenever farmer is in requirement for a replacement, he can give the farmer the replacement animals or birds can be given to the farmer who is interested. Okay, in that way in situ farming conservation can be taken up. Ex situ, as the name says, ex situ means outside the breeding tract or outside the situation, you can say. So you can, for example, that is Amrut Mahal belongs to our that is middle Karnataka region and southern Karnataka region. So we can take them to some of the regions where the farms are available in our Karnataka in isolated farms. Okay, or where people in the very tropical regions where they are in the need of good draught cattle. So you can suggest people from other states also to take up the rearing of Amrut Mahal cattle. So it's like that. So Devani cattle, for example, is from Bidar and Gulbarga region. So you can, and either Andhra and Maharashtra border. So you can take that bird animal to any other area outside its breeding tract and encourage the farmers to rear that breed. That is ex situ farming. Okay. So organized herds, when we say, along with the farmers, public sector, that is like universities or governments, can also take up the keeping animals of other breeding tract, okay, in any other area. So that is the one method. So ex situ method. And another important this one is ex situ cryopreserved germplasm. Germplasm as such can be preserved, that is in the form of embryos, okay, somatic cells, DNA, spermatogonial stem cells or semen, in the form of specially germplasm or stem cells. The germplasm can be preserved, that is ex situ conservation. Okay, I think in situ conservation, I think just now I elaborated the points here. You can just read out the points here. Involves maintenance of live population of animals in their adaptive environment. That what I explained is that only. In that again you can classify active and passive. Active, when we say, so there should be a scientific breeding activity within the breed itself. Okay, so that is either you select the animals for good purpose. For example, Malnadgi diet to cattle, whether there are animals, you pick them up, allow them to breed only those animals, and breed those animals which have got longer lactation length, higher milk production. So character recording should be done, and only selected animals should be allowed to breed. So that if that activity goes on, that is called as active in situ conservation. Okay, so there will be development with the support from the government in the form of scientific support, that is awareness, research findings can be passed on to the farmers, so that they will utilize them for their own utility. Okay, passive one is as such, I think there is nothing like that. They keep just like there will be some herds of 50 to 100 animals of a particular breed will be kept, and they will be breeding amongst themselves, though exact scientific breeding will not be taking place. But as such, the animals, some good number of animals are kept intact with regular breeding activity without any organized or directed breeding or selection going on. Okay, so that will also be a in situ conservation. Okay, next one. So in situ conservation advantages are animals are still being utilized. That is the major form of conservation. We should identify the characters of good breeds and create awareness about them, and promote the rearing of indigenous descript breeds for the utility of the farmers. So we'll have to keep utilizing them. When their utility is there, there will be naturally demand for them, naturally conservation will be there. And the second point is performance characters can be properly recorded and evaluated naturally. And the third point, breed have the opportunity to evolve themselves. Okay, depending on the environmental condition, changing environmental conditions, they have got the opportunity to change themselves. Okay, So disadvantages are there naturally because animals are at risk of diseases when they are in small numbers. So whole population can be eroded. That is the main disadvantage. Genetic drift, that is if the only small number of animals are isolated or available and kept in isolation for a longer number of generations, there naturally there will be genetic drift, that is inbreeding effects will be there will be erosion of good qualities. So there is increasing risk of inbreeding also when small number are kept. Animals may be less productive, and so maybe maintenance cost naturally when they are less productive, maintenance cost also gets increased. Okay, I think ex situ conservation is, I think, more advantageous because when it is not possible we can keep them in the in vivo. Can be less, but technology cost will be very high in the ex situ. But the disease chance of getting eroded completely will not be there. Okay, and you have the option of this keeping large number of variation can be retained in small area. That is, you can select the embryos from, or sperm can be specimen of different regions can be stored for longer years. That is, you take the bulls from semen from bull of Mysore region, Tumkur region, Chitradurga, retain it for any number of years. It will be there. Cost of storing is also very less. You can store lot of diversity also there. Okay, so again in that we have got in vivo and in vitro. Okay, so in vitro methods are these cryopreservation. Okay, in vitro methods within the ex situ, spermatozoa, oocyte, cryo embryo, storage of DNA, stem cells will be there. In vivo method means actually this is in the form of small sections. Okay, in a small, we can say in vivo to make it very this one, in small created environment you will preserve the animal outside the breeding tract, again in the smaller farms. Okay, smaller farms, we can say examples are, we can say with the Burgur recently has been characterized in Tamil Nadu, so that number was very less. So now they have opened a research station for Burgur only. Okay, like that. So if it is in the extinction, so you can take a available number, small number, and keep them in the organized small farm. So that forms the in vivo method. Bull mother farms, that is, in the bull mother farms we can keep the mothers of remaining females and take the bulls from bull cows from that and utilize for the breeding or retaining the quality of that breed. So in that way, so in vivo is nothing but keeping the live animals in small number outside the breeding tract. Okay, I think that is with respect to the conservation. To just conclude about the conservation, so why this conservation is required? So I have just given only for the one species of cattle. So same thing is true for any other species also. So it is an just an outing there. You can just see the readings there. You can see Brazil has taken Angol cattle. Okay, has taken Angol cattle, and this was the caption. You can just see the highlighted point over here. A the hardy and disease resistant Angol breed saved the South American country when the mad cow disease wiped out all other American and European breeds. That is the Deccan Herald News in 2015. You can just see the importance of these cattle, indigenous cattle, which are resistant for many diseases. Their utility will come to picture only when there are difficult environments, harsh environments. So for that reason, so and Brazil has got, that has been indicated here, has got around 2.5 crores cows. Okay, 2.5 crore. I think it's very difficult to get so many number of animals. Even lakhs of animals cannot be obtained in India itself. So for that reason, other people have recognized in the same way, that is the treasure is here, don't search somewhere. That is, we have to utilize the available genetic resources in order to improve the production potential. I think with that we will just close today's class. We will see